G'day guys! We all know how cool it is to have an immersive mode into our video games. But keeping in mind every single object you put in your backpack, that may be a bit of a job. So that's why we're here today. Let's build an inventory system with UMGs. Okay, I want to start creating a struct. So I'm gonna create right click, then going into blueprints, structure, ST, and we're gonna do object data. Okay, ST is just a prefix to be able to understand what is everything. So we're gonna open it and do something like maybe ID. We're gonna call an integer will be ID. ID can even be a string in case you want it to be more human readable. So let's keep a string for now. Okay. Then we also want a text because we want a name for the object. Why text? We want to use text so it's already ready for an eventual translation. So, okay, this will be the object name, and we want also example something like value. So we do a float, this will be called value, and we also want the static mesh. There we go. There we go. So now we have our struct with all the data inside that we need, and we can start creating a simple object. So we do new actor BP pickup object, and we can already put it here in the scene. So let's create our actor. We are going to add a new variable here, which will be our object data. We're going to set the type of variable as object data, st object data we just created. And I think I'm going to expose it. So we do instance editable. We click here. I just click the I for to be faster. And then we can do expose on spawn. So what expose on spawn does is when we are creating and spawning this object into the world, we will already have the variable here to set. So it's really comfortable and good to do in case you need to generate an object with already data inside. So now what we can do is do into this construction script. Let's add a static mesh here, which can stay empty for now. And what we do is go on construction script, get the static mesh, do set static mesh, and this will be set getting the object data. We are gonna break the struct, and we're gonna use the object mesh as new mesh for the static mesh component. Okay, so we compile, and here, when we go over our object we just placed in the scene, we can see that under the default, we have object data. In case we change the category here, like data, we compile. So as you can see now, the category is called data, and we have our object data inside. So we can go here and do something like sphere, cool sphere as name. So this will be the ID, which we don't need now, but we're going to set it. We're going to change the name and call it example like cool sphere. Then we have a value, which can be 10. And we have an object mesh, which will be sphere. There we go. So as you can see now, since we put it into the construction script, as soon as we modified something, the object, the actor is going to get re-updated. And as you can see, now we have the object, which is the one we set. Okay, so we want maybe to have it like a bit tinier. So what we want to do is also, example, do set scale, set word scale 3D. We want to drag from new scale and do promote to variable. So here we will call it object scale. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. We click on this, we do instance editable, and we do expose on spawn. There we go. Or in case we can just set it in as a new variable inside the object data, but we don't need it now. So now we have our object data here. We have it as, oh sorry, scale is set to 0, 0, 0, so the is super tiny, it cannot be visible. So I'm gonna just put it 1, 1, 1 as default, recompile, and here we have our sphere. But now I'm gonna move also this into data. There we go. So now both of our informations are inside the data category. So now we can do something like 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5. There we go. So now we have our object. To make something cute, we can also do rotating movement. We can just leave it the default, just to, as example, is rotation rate 180 over the z-axis, so it will be rotating on itself. Let me see. Yay! Okay, sorry, this was not planned. Okay, so now we have our object here, but we can obviously cannot pick it up. So let's think to this. Okay, so now we need to pick it up. So what we can do is open the third-person character. What we could do, I mean, we have like so many things we could do, guys. One of them is maybe trace a box in front of us, or just use maybe, let's do maybe a box collision, okay? We're gonna add a box collision, which will be placing in front of our character. This is our capsule for the collisions. And we're gonna set it a bit bigger, maybe like this. And this will be our pickup zone. And what we want to do is, let's call it box pickup. So we are gonna check when some button will be pressed, we're gonna check what there is inside this box on its at least overlapped. And then we're gonna check the actors, okay? So what we want to do is something like left mouse button, we check the box pickup, and we do get overlapping actors, class filter, pickup object. So we are getting all the overlapping actors which are of the BP pickup object class we created before. So for now we can just do a cool print, or maybe doing a for each loop. So for every one of them, we are gonna get the get display name, and we're gonna print it. So here we are, we go in front of the box, and every time we are clicking, as you can see, it's telling us that we are overlapping the BP pickup object. If you want to be able to see your pickup box, you can just go here and do hidden in game. Nope. Remember to not keep stuff like the boxes like these, or the arrows also, visible during the shipping, because everything will crash. So here is our box. We are checking for actors, so we can just check like this, which are now we are overlapping, and we click, and on as you can see on the top left, BP pickup object. Perfect. So it is working. So what we want to do now is to make sure that we are going to pick up only the first of them. So no, not all of them, because we want to be able to pick one object at a time. And what we can do for this is to just get the first element in the array, so the one at the 0 index, and we can do something like, okay, let's just do an example. Or we can destroy, there we go. So as soon as we press, we're gonna destroy the first element in our list. So to make you understand better, I'm gonna widen this box like this, and I'm gonna add maybe a couple of more balls like this. So now I'm gonna overlap all of them like this, and as soon as we'll be clicking, one at a time will be removed, okay? So what we wanna do now is not obviously destroying them like this, but we want to put them into inventory. We are obviously not going to, Let's see what's happening here. Destroy actor. Okay, what happened here is that I clicked the button one time more than the actual amount of object there was in front of me. So I actually called the destroy actor over a non-existing value. So what we can do here is on left mouse button, clicked, we do a branch here. It's valid index, which one? The 0. So we are asking if there is actually an element inside this array. And if so, then we destroy it. Or we anyway go further with our pickup. So since we know the class of these, what we can do is we might do something like this. We do get the first element, the 0, 1, the 0. And we can do, since we know it is this is an actor object reference, so we can cast to pickup object, since we know that is a pickup object. In case it's not, it will just fail. But it's already filtered, so we cannot mess it up. And if it is a pickup object, then we're gonna get object data, which is the information we stored into our pickup object. And we need to find a way to pass these to our inventory. So to do these, we need to do a new thing. So since what I said in the beginning, we want to be able to pass the stuff and whatever object information we want to the UMG without having to reference it, what we can do is creating a new interface. So right click, we go over blueprints, blueprint interface, and we can just do BI as a blueprint interface. Sorry, change the keyboard. There we go. BI, we can do inventory interface. Okay. So as a new function, we can do BI on, that's just something I'm usual to do for a sort of a order matter, like mental order. So BI on, so blueprint interface on, which will be called on interface inventory add object. What we're going to do here, we're going to add as an input the object data struct. We're going to call object data, and we are going to move back to our third person character. And what we do here is right clicking and doing add object. As you can see now, just writing add object, it appears the BI on inventory add object. We can just do like this. Target will be our inventory. Sorry, I'm getting old. And we're going to pass the object data. So we're going to get the object data from the pickup object, and we're going to pass it to the inventory add object. So now we don't have in this blueprint, in this character, the reference to our UMG, which we don't have, but we can already create something to be able to pass the data to it. So what we can do here is do get all widgets with interface, since we will be adding the interface to our widget, which interface BI inventory interface, top level only, and we do like this, simple and clear. So we are getting all the widgets with that interface, and to each one of them, we are going to do BI, we're going to fire the BI on inventory add object, passing the data with it. And there we go. Okay, so what we need now is an actual inventory. So we can move here, save everything, get boys the use to do Control Shift and S to save all. So we are going to save yourself from a lot of pain. New user interface, widget blueprint. We do UMG inventory. We open it, and here we go. So what we want to do now immediately is go over the graph, go over class settings, and add over the interface tab here the BI inventory interface and compile. So what is happening now, we still have nothing for our menu, okay? But now that we added and we compiled, we can do event bi on inventory add object. So this is an event which will be fired as soon as the third-person character will be calling this. And we did this without calling a single reference to the actual inventory. So in case in future we want to change inventory, we just need to create a new inventory with this same event related to the interface, and everything will be working the same way. So nothing is broken, you don't need to change references around, and so it's pretty cool. Where were inventory? Okay, so let's do just print to make sure everything is working. We're gonna break it, and we're gonna add the name to the print. So just to print, and adding maybe a breakpoint to. No, we don't need it. We're gonna print it to the screen. There we go. Okay, let's do another thing so we are sure. Append name equal space value. So we will have example sphere space equal space and the value, which we set as, I think we set as 10. Is it right? Object data 10. Yes, perfect. So here we are. Okay, but the problem now is that we don't have a widget added to the scene. So what we can do is go over the level blueprint, open level blueprint, and we can just create widget, which one? UMG inventory, add it to the viewport. But since we don't want it to be immediately appearing over our screen, we can also do set visibility to collapse. So now we also need a way to call it up, to show it. So let's go to inventory. Let's add something just to make you understand what is going on. This, just do an example, 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is our inventory. Maybe, let me make it a bit better. So this is our inventory. So now the level blueprint is actually spawning it, but is hiding it also. So if we press play, there will be nothing on the screen. What we want to do now is go over the inventory. We want a way to be able to call the inventory, okay? So what we do is to go to BI inventory. We also add a new function called BI on inventory open menu. And we'll just keep it like this. So we are going to create a function that we'll call an event, which will make so that our inventory, so inside the inventory, we can do event open, and we'll have our function. So event BI on inventory open menu. What we do here is just do set visibility to not hit testable or hit test invisible for older version of Unreal. Okay, so now should be everything good. Yes, okay, I forgot to go to third-person character and add, example, a button which might be tab. And what we do here is we get all the widget with interface, same as before, which interface the inventory one, and we do open menu. So we do BI on inventory open menu message, okay? Again, we connect it like this, and there we go. So now, luckily, if we press tab button, the inventory is getting opened. We still have control over the camera, which is something we can fix now in a different way, but it's opening. So another thing we can do here, let's move it a bit downward, is get player controller, set show mouse cursor, true, and we want also to do game and UI. So set input mode to game and UI with focus on self. Why self? Because we are actually calling it from the UMG inventory. So the widget in focus will be the inventory. So now when we press tab, our camera will not move anymore with the mouse and the mouse is visible. Okay, good. So another thing we can do is to add a button to the canvas panel and put it under. So just offset. We want our border to be on the top. So we Z order, we put it at 1. And the button, which I call button background, I want it to be invisible. So I'm gonna set the background color to 0. There we go. Then we scroll down and there is events on clicked. We are still speaking about the button background. And we do the same thing we did here, but with a bunch of difference. So will be collapsed, show mouse cursor false, and here we do game only. There we go. So we press tab and the inventory is opening, and we press the background here and the inventory is closing, giving back to us the control over what's going on. So now that we actually have the inventory working, we know that on the third person character, we created this left mouse button, which is picking up the object and passing it with this event to with its function, passing the object data to whatever widget has that interface and has this event on. In this case, this is our event, sorry, this one. So what we can do is debugging this to see the inputs moving, and I'm gonna move this a bit smaller so you can see. We can go over our balls here and just click. As you can see, cool sphere 1, cool sphere 1, cool sphere 1. Perfect. So now what is going on is that they are getting add like infinitely, because we remove the destroy function over the third person character. So now we are actually passing the data, we can actually destroy it. Okay, in other cases, you might want to pull it and pull it somewhere else. But for this case, we can just go over the BP pickup object and do destroy actor. When after is add to the inventory. Complete. So we don't play. We go here, we overlap here, and bam, bam, bam. We have 3 cool spears, as you can see on the top left, of value 10. So what is going on now? We open the inventory and we have nothing because we created nothing to make the data be passed from the. We passed the data, but we didn't add it to as buttons to our inventory. So if you found any of this useful, make sure to smash the like button and to let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you want more UE4 tutorial videos, hit subscribe and catch up on next time.